Donald Trump recently met with some African leaders, and as usual, when Donald Trump meets with African leaders, there's always some comedy and drama to, to discuss. So among the leaders, there was the Liberian president, and he was talking to Donald Trump. And after he talked with him, Trump was asking uh, how he speaks so good English and where he went to school, like where did he study. Now, as I was reading this, as I was watching the clip, I was actually laughing to myself because at the same time I was reading the comments online, especially Twitter and or X or whatever you want to call it. And I was laughing at Africans who were actually, you know, praising Trump for acknowledging that Africans can speak good English and that the accents in the movies in Hollywood, that's not every African, like, that's not the accent for Africans. And to me, I was just thinking, you guys must be, something must be wrong with your heads because that guy is just straight out saying Africa is what? I, I don't even know the words to put it, but you get the point. So the whole time I was just thinking, how ignorant is Donald Trump? And I mean, he promised good years of 4 good years of good TV. He's so far been delivering. I swear he is actually been delivering. A few months ago or a few weeks ago when he made president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and um, the things escalated with Trump showing evidence from uh, the white South Africans that are being murdered and stuff. And then it turned out that he was actually showing images of what's happening in the DRC. The chaos, the war has been going on for almost 30 years. This is what he promised. 4 years of good TV, and so far he's delivering. Kudos to him. But kudos to also the president of Liberia, who actually took things with maturity, in my opinion, because we didn't see the same chaos that happened when Zelensky was at the White House. He was calm. He replied and laughed off some of the jokes that Trump were making. And that was good to see. In my opinion, it was good to see. And then his government actually released a statement a day or 2 days later after the meeting, saying there were no hard feelings from Donald Trump's comments. And look, I don't think there should have been any hard feelings. Yeah, that's just Donald Trump. At this point, I'm left to always, sit down and actually laugh when he's on TV or when I see him in the news, because most of the time uh, anyway, he is Donald Trump. 4 good years of TV was the promise. He is delivering. He is the first president of the United States to actually curse on live TV. He did say the F word a couple of weeks ago or days ago when he was asked about, the situation in between Israel and the situation in the Middle East. There's so much going on in the Middle East that it's so hard to keep track anymore, which honestly, as somebody who comes from, a very chaotic land where most of the children do not know anything about where they come from, we have an entire generation today who actually don't know what their home looks like. And that is because of, the conflict that's been going on for almost 30 years. This conflict has been going on longer than I've been on the planet. It's crazy. So he went on and he said, they don't know what the F they're doing anymore. They've been fighting for so long. And that was the news. So, yes, we are getting good years, 4 good years of good TV. I don't know what defines good TV. I don't think Trump understood the script for the TV that he was trying to, to be a part of. But he is just giving us good TV, I guess. And every single time Trump is in the news, you can expect just one thing to happen, like just one thing that's going to be the topic. He goes on TV to talk about important issues, but he ends up making something about himself, and that's what the world is going to talk about. Sadly, it's really sad, you know. But it is what Donald Trump does best, I think. So the whole conversation, the situation in the White House for me was really funny, with the African leaders, and the other thing I still don't understand is why African leaders still go to Washington. I really don't understand this. Last month, uh, representatives from Rwanda and the DRC met to sign a peace deal. And a few days later, President Kagame of Rwanda was saying how he doesn't know if the deal is going to stick. And in my head, anyway, that's a conversation for another day because I have so much I could talk about President Kagame and his counterpart in DRC, Tshisekedi. I don't know. Let me not say something that's going to get me in trouble. African leaders are kind of crazy. I say that with almost respect, but they're really crazy. But yeah, it is crazy to see how Donald Trump actually doesn't know anything about the world outside of America. He probably does not know anything outside of Mar-a-Lago or Los Angeles or Washington, or, I don't know, or New York. He probably doesn't. So it was really fun to see, and so much kudos to the president for the way he handled it. But yeah, Hollywood, you should learn from the president. All Africans don't speak like your movies, which is quite funny when you think about it again. Like, Black Panther came out in 2018, and for some reason, Hollywood still made the characters speak with that weird accent. Whoever told Hollywood that was an accent, it is an accent. I'm not saying it's not an accent in Africa. People use it, but it's not an accent you find almost everywhere you go. Like, I can never even try to mimic that accent. So I guess I'm never going to be an actor. Never wanted to be either way. But that accent is one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. It reminds me of when characters would be shown that they're in uh, South Africa, and Trevor Noah, the comedian, was talking about how he would hear these people talk, and he would question himself what they are talking about because they're trying to speak in Xhosa, which is the language with the clicks in it, and they would also question themselves like, what are they saying? We can't understand this Xhosa. It's what is it? A different type of Xhosa? Is it Zulu? What is it? So it's funny that Hollywood does not learn, with all the representation that's happening, with people trying to erase the mistakes of the past. One thing still remains the same with Hollywood when it comes to Hollywood and characters of an African descent. It's really amazing to see how people can stay ignorant over and over again, for so many years.